A little while ago, there was a psychologist by the name of Thomas Gilovich. And he did a fascinating study where he looked at if you invest in goods versus an experience, what happens to your satisfaction level over time? And he found that when you invest in a physical good, over time your satisfaction starts to go down. When you invest in an experience, over time your satisfaction starts to go up. So the world's leading organizations have figured out how do we make it so that our organization feels like an experience. And to try to understand what that means, I analyzed 252 companies around the world, including all of the Fortune 100 and all of the Fortune 100 best places to work, and tried to understand what does this actually mean? What is employee experience? And how do we actually create this environment where people genuinely want to show up to work? Now the good news. The good news is that for every organization around the world, every employee experience is a combination of just three things: culture, technology, physical space. Now, there are 17 attributes that comprise these environments, but these are the broad things that organizations can design for: culture, technology, physical space. How do I feel working for you? What is the actual environment in which I work? And what tools do I have to use to actually get my job done? It's not always about the work.
Do you want to hear something really crazy? 96% of the people who watch videos on this channel are not subscribed. Help me change that number around by subscribing so that you can get access to more videos just like this one. And now, let's get back to the content.
We have all been a part of organizations where we didn't like our job for one reason or another, and we left and went to go work elsewhere. Same industry, doing the same type of job, same geographic location, doing the same type of work. Now all of a sudden we love our jobs. What changed? It wasn't the work that we're doing, it's the environment in which the work actually gets done. The culture, the technology, the physical space. So let's talk about these three a little bit. First one is physical space. Fairly obvious, right? This is the space in which we work, whether it's a coffee shop or a co-working facility or your corporate headquarters. But what's really fascinating about physical space is that research has been done that shows that the physical space connects the mission of the organization to the employee. It helps the employee feel a sense of belonging and connection to the work that the organization does. It's a symbol of your organization. Batman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, all of these superheroes have symbols that represent who they are and what they stand for. Yours is the physical space. It is the symbol of your organization. One of the things that employees care about most when it comes to the physical space is working in an environment where the values of the organization are physically manifested in the environment in which employees work. In other words, if you say you care about trust and collaboration and transparency, if I walk around your organization, the physical environment, do I see these values come to life? Are they physically manifested inside of your organizations? If you look at an organization like a Facebook, like an Airbnb, like a Cisco, and you look at their values and you walk into these organizations, it becomes very clear that these spaces were not just designed as cool places to work, they were designed as extensions of the brand. Cisco is striving to be one of the most technologically advanced organizations in the world. If you show up to a Cisco facility, you don't have an assigned desk. Your contacts are automatically beamed to whatever computer you're using. If you walk into a conference room, the temperature, the lighting, all of that adjusts to your personal preferences. It's an extension of who Cisco is as a brand. Now, the physical space comprises 30% of an employee's overall experience. The second environment is the technological environment, the tools, the devices, the hardware, the software, all of these things that you use to get your job done. Now, we live in a little bit of a technology paradox today, don't we? Because on the one hand, we hear about automation, we hear about augmented and virtual reality, we hear about all these amazing things that are coming our way, autonomous vehicles. And on the other hand, many of us are still stuck trying to connect our printer to the Wi-Fi network. And many organizations, and I'm sure many of you do this, we still keep track of our people data using Excel spreadsheets. So how is it that inside of our organizations we're still stuck with these very basic core things that we're trying to resolve around technology? Meanwhile, we're talking about autonomous vehicles and all these amazing things that are coming our way. I think to truly achieve the things that we talk about in the technological environment, we have to upgrade the ways in which employees work. Another interesting thing about technology is that when the technology breaks down, it's not just a technology thing, it becomes a human thing. In other words, when the technology breaks down, so do the human aspects around that technology. Trust, collaboration, communication. When you don't have those right tools, all of those other components break down as well. The technological environment, too, comprises 30% of an employee's overall experience. The last environment is the cultural environment. Now, I went to the University of California, Santa Cruz, banana slugs, and I double majored in economics and psychology. And after I graduated from UC Santa Cruz, I went to go work for a company in Los Angeles. And I was promised I was going to be doing all these amazing things. And a couple months into my job, I'm doing data entry, cold calling, PowerPoint presentations. One day, the CEO walks out of his office. He hands me $10, and he says, I have a very important project for you. Go to Starbucks, get me a latte, get something for yourself as well. What are you, out of your damn mind? Like, this is why I worked so hard in school to go get you a cup of coffee? Idiot, go get your own cup of coffee. That's what I said on the inside. On the outside, I said, sure, of course, I would love to go get you that cup of coffee. I like to think of corporate culture as the side effects of working for your organization. So the side effects of working for your company, what are those side effects? When I was writing my book, there was a show on TV, and in the middle of the show, there was a commercial for a prescription drug. And during the commercial, the side effects for this prescription drug were horrific. Skin discoloration, weight gain, hair loss, bleeding from the eyes, and in some cases, death. And I thought, who in their right mind is going to take this kind of a pill? But interestingly enough, many of us work for organizations that have the exact same side effects. Many of us work for think about that for a minute. Many of us work for organizations where we get in arguments with our spouse. We're constantly stressed out. We're gaining weight, bleeding from the eyes. And when I speak with executives one-on-one, when no employees are in the room and nothing is being recorded, I always ask them, I say, if I were to bottle up what it was like to work at your organization right now and put it into a pill form and give you that pill, would you take it? And they almost always say no. So how is it that we as leaders are expecting our employees to swallow the corporate pill when we ourselves as leaders are not willing to do so? Corporate culture comprises 40% of the employee's overall experience. One of the things that employees care about most when it comes to corporate culture is having a manager who acts as a coach and a mentor. A manager who believes that their existence and their purpose for being at the organization is to help make other people more successful than they are. If you go to an organization like a Facebook, if you go to an organization like a Microsoft, who, by the way, were some of the highest scoring organizations in my employee experience index, you see this. You see this happen firsthand. So these are the three environments that shape every employee experience for every organization around the world.